Don't you forget you're special. Don't you forget you're special.
We were all born different, even those that look alike, even twins of differences and can be identified.
Welcome to the Able Show. I'm your host, Davina Duthard, and these are my lovely co-hosts.
Samantha Bowie.
Tinder Shoemaker, Deanna Colbert.
Today we have a wonderful guest, Dr. Ifunanya Nweke. She has a wonderful program called Jazz Hands for Autism. We're going to find out all about her program and the inclusion she's creating for individuals with disabilities in the creative space. When we come back from break, we'll meet Dr. Nweke. DJ X-Ray, take us to the break.
All you gotta do is just know that you're special. Come on.
Life will always test you, turn you to the best. You don't know what you've been through, but I hope you get through. I can be a friend who is someone you can vent to. Friend who is someone you can vent to when it feels this world's against you and you forget.
Welcome back to the Able
special.
Show with Dr. Nweke. Welcome to our show.
I love your dress.
I know, isn't it beautiful? Is it like a traditional dress, or tell me?
Not
No?
exactly,
Okay, yeah.
but a lot of women, Nigerians, a lot of women in
Right.
Nigeria wear we call it like a boo-boo. But this is not even from Nigeria.
Oh,
but
it's not,
a
okay.
similar style that boo-boos are usually made from.
Yeah, I had a friend who bought me a bunch of really nice traditional dress, or I don't know if you call them dresses. Do you call them dresses, or do you call? Yeah, okay. Yeah, from Nigeria, 20-something years ago. They're beautiful.
Wow.
Silk they were gorgeous. Yes, absolutely. Anyway, welcome and tell us about your program. I'm so excited to hear what you're doing and what you're up to.
Yes, so we do a lot of stuff. So as I may not say everything because I get nervous. I'm nervous right now.
Oh, it's okay.
But as you ask questions, I'll probably be able to tell more about it. But in a nutshell, what we do at Jazz Hands is we empower individuals who are neurodivergent, so those who have autism and other diagnoses, to maximize their talents and leverage their talent as a way that they can connect to their communities, and also as a way for the communities to connect with them. So we provide music education, inclusive music education. We provide job scouting and job placement in music-related fields.
Oh,
so
great.
our musicians have performed in many different places, like the Mint or for the mayor of LA. They've taught at schools, non-public schools. They've interned at studios. They've even composed music that has been on places like Cartoon Network. So our goal at Jazz Hands is to make the music industry more inclusive by providing inclusive music education and also empowering educators to do the same thing.
One of our participants or interns who are here at the Able Show, Shane Holzman, this is the second time I'm saying Shane Holzman. I think she was in your program before, or?
Yes, she was, and she's back again.
Yes.
So, and that's not uncommon. Some of our musicians, they'll come to Jazz Hands. Sometimes they may leave and then they come back again. So Shane is currently working on studying composition at Jazz Hands, and may also be interested in teaching. So she's going between our composition track and our music education track at Jazz Hands. So Shane, she has music that's in our music library.
Yes,
her music has been used for like infomercials and stuff like that, and she got paid for it. So yeah, our job is to leverage every single element of the music industry and make it inclusive to people who are neurodivergent.
She's going to be doing some compositions and some things we're working on for the Able Show as well.
Amazing.
So I'm very excited for her. She's very excited. So yeah, that's what
Amazing.
it's all about. So I read in your bio that you, so the clients have made over like $40,000. I saw that.
So
oh wow.
Our musicians, just collectively, right? So from all the work that they've done, like from sync placements to performing at gigs to teaching, our musicians have collectively made over $50,000. And that's just the beginning. Our goal is to be able to do more. Even like, for example, through our music library, some of our musicians didn't know that they had money just sitting out in the ether, so we help them collect their royalties and then we send them a check. So yeah, literally every element of the music industry, whether they're performing or teaching music or sync licensing, our job is to make sure that those avenues are accessible to musicians who are neurodivergent.
What's your music background?
I'm a singer-songwriter, so yeah. Before Jazz Hands, I have one EP out that I won't I won't let you guys. It's on SoundCloud, so it's hard to find. So music for me is a way that I was able to express myself most authentically. So I said before that, you know, I can talk, you know, I can speak, but when you hear something that I write, a song that I write, you know, you can understand more about me in 3 minutes or 4 minutes than if I was to talk to you for an hour. Because there's so many elements of music that I think that, you know, are able to communicate information. So whether it's the lyrics or the melody or the harmonies or the timbre or the rhythm or how fast it is, like all these things are communicating something to you. And so for me, when I write music, I consider all those elements, and I consider what I want to share, and then I use all those elements to tell the story. So long story short, I'm a singer-songwriter. I started learning the bass. But I'm laughing because
bass is hard to learn.
Right, and that's why it's been sitting in my room and has not been played for years. So, but one day I want to get back to that. And I did teach
acoustic or electric.
Electric bass. Electric bass is what because I love bass. You know, so one day I'll make the time. I haven't had too much time to play it, but when I was younger, I also played clarinet. I played recorder first, and then clarinet, which are the same instruments.
I played the clarinet.
Like once you learn one instrument, it's kind of easy to pick up the others.
Exactly.
It's like learning languages or something.
Exactly. And then I taught myself piano when I was in 7th grade.
Oh yeah.
6th, 7th grade. Yeah, my mom came home. She brought a keyboard. I was like, this is a good gift. I just figured it out. You know, I use numbers actually to teach myself to play keyboard. We had like this old, now it's an old Yamaha, but at the time it was new because this was like decades ago. So first, and on the keyboard, it showed you like which was the right hand and the left hand. And so and then it came with a book with some songs. So I would listen to it over and over again, and because I forgot how to read music. Yeah, when I played clarinet, I understood, it was like a language that I understood like organically, but then I forgot it. So then I was like, okay, you know what, since I don't remember how to read music, I'll use numbers. So whenever I see the same note, I put the same number. So it helped me like learn how to play that hand and then this hand. And then every day I just painstakingly until I figured out how to do both hands, I'll be at the piano for like 5 hours.
Oh wow.
Until I figured it out, and then I went to college. And then I didn't have time to do that anymore. So yeah, like music is a very important part of my life. You know, my dad used to be a DJ. You know, apparently my mom says I was singing since I was a kid. I don't remember that. I remember first singing when I was in 7th grade. That's the first time I remember singing. So for me, music is like a very, very powerful way of communicating. So I understand firsthand how it can be a tool for communication and interaction.
There's so many different tools and ways to communicate, so it's a blessing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more Dr. Nweke.
You forget you're special.
Hey, you are special, and don't forget it.
Thank you, DJ Rick X-Ray, for those grooves. Welcome back to the Able Show. We have Dr. Ifunanya Nweke. I want to say Ifunanya. I don't know why I keep saying that, but anyway. So we were talking about your program, your music background. I was curious about the music industry itself and how it's changing, and how are those kind of things you're teaching in your music program as well, like, you know, distribution and you know, there's an open field, but then it's also some challenges with some of these open, you know, industries. You don't necessarily have to have a recording contract from a record label anymore. You can put out your music, but there are also some things that you have to navigate in that space. Are those kind of things taught in your program?
Yes, so in 2021, we launched the first ever music library that contains music composed exclusively, written, produced exclusively by neurodivergent musicians. So, you know, or with. So if a person has composed a song with one of our musicians or a musician who's neurodivergent, it also is eligible to be in our music library.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And the reason why is because, like I mentioned, our musicians, some of them have like huge catalogs of music, you know, like some people even up to 1,000 songs that is just sitting on their computer. And I'm like, you know, this can make some money. This can make you some money. You know, let's find a way to make you some money with this, with this music. And then also, you know, several different people have come to us and say, oh, do you guys have original music for this project or this project? Right. And so we said, okay, you know what? The best way to go about it in a streamlined way, which is really important to me, is to start a music library. And so we did. And part of that, we have like a newsletter that goes out every month to everyone who's submitted music to our library. That is like it's called our sync newsletter. It tells you something about sync licensing. You know, so whether it's distribution or understanding how to make sure that your music is protected. And even the process of getting your music into our music library requires our staff to help walk you through how do I make sure that my music is registered with ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC?
Yes.
How do I make sure that if I want to copyright my music that it's copywritten? Is it on streaming platforms? How do I put, use DSP to put my music on Spotify, etc. Or am I registered with Harry Fox agency? Am I connected mechanical rights? So we teach about all of those different elements.
That's super important because there's one thing about just creating the music, which is probably super fun, but then like actually knowing, okay, this is how the industry works. Let's make this practical.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's important because, and some of our musicians, they may not remember everything that we share, in our newsletters or even in the process, but that's our job. Our job is to make sure that they're protected. So, whenever a person wants to work with our musicians, we review the agreements, we ensure that it's fair, we ensure that they're not being taken advantage of, because the music industry can be exploitative. And so a big part of our job is protecting our musicians and their original work. So every song in our library, our musicians own all their masters. They own 100% of their publishing. They own 100% of their writer's share. So Jazz Hands, we don't own anything. And part of the reason why is because one of the goals with our library is to be able to partner with larger libraries. And the more people that have hands on the song, the less piece of the pie the musician gets. Right. So if we're as a library taking some part of their music, by the time we get it to like maybe a Netflix or something like that, maybe there's so many they are left with such a little piece. So we say, you know what? It's not industry standard. It's not profitable or lucrative, but our job is not to make money, but it's to protect the musicians. So we ensure that they own everything, so that as they move further in the industry and maybe they get into different agreements, that they at least retain some part of their original work.
So how does AI fit into the fold? That's really an
that's a good question. I have mixed feelings about AI. Because I'm still learning about it, and we still don't know how it's going to impact many things. But I've come across like AI artists and AI tools that are used to create music. We do have some music on our library that is created using AI, but we tag it to make sure that whoever's purchasing the music understands that this was created with AI. So that's a new frontier that we're trying to figure out how to navigate. We're learning and educating ourselves. At Jazz Hands, we use AI for other things, for developing other things. But when it comes to AI and music, that's something that, like the rest of the industry, we're still trying to understand. But I spend a lot of time attending conferences or reading up about it. I read weekly. Every week I have like a task that says, okay, read about the music industry. So I'm always seeing, okay, what's coming up, what's happening, so I can make sure that as an organization we're preparing ourselves and our musicians for the world that they're entering. So we don't know how AI is going to impact the music industry just yet. There's a lot of laws being, put in place or being suggested, and policies being suggested. So we'll see how that goes. But personally, I really value the art of music, because I think that musicians, they are creators. I mean, beyond just like, yes, a creator, but like they are doing like divine work in my opinion. Like they're getting inspiration from somewhere and then putting it out into the world. So I'm always an advocate and a big fan of musicians, real musicians who are actually doing the work, who are playing it, who are putting their soul out using their instrument, whether it's their voice or an actual instrument. So that's my stance on it. I'm not anti-AI, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not anti-AI either, but the thing that really kind of concerns me a little bit is utilizing other people's voices to create, music or anything else. It's like, well, wait a minute. So now that person, you can capitalize on someone else's vocal skill and vocal quality. Just seems a bit, but it's here. It's something we have to deal with. And it's good that you guys are addressing that in your program as well.
Yes. Is there a specific message you want to put out into the world through your music personally, or through the program in general?
That's a good question. Let me think about it. I have my personal mission statement, which I think is kind of built into the mission of Jazz Hands. And my personal mission statement is to turn all my potential to kinetic. So I think that just like a table or a chair or whatever, a shelf, everything has potential energy. That's like physics, right? And then once it's in motion, it's kinetic, right? So I believe that everyone, and this is also rooted in my faith too, I think everyone is born with something to move, with potential to turn kinetic. And so I think that's like the foundation of everything that I do is, who are you? Let's discover who you are. Let's discover what you have to give, and let's set that into motion. And so that's like my message for everything.
Oh, that sounds great. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more Dr. Nweke.
If you ever get scared, then I'll protect you. When you feel like quitting, I won't let you. I'm saying this because to me you are.
X-Ray. Welcome back to the Able Show, and we're here again with Dr. Nweke.
I actually had a question. We've been calling you doctor. I wanted to ask what you studied and got your doctorate in.
Yes, thank you for asking. So I have my doctorate in educational leadership, Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership with a concentration in educational psychology.
Oh,
it's long. It's a long one. And long story short, my doctorate is in how to lead educational organizations by understanding how different theories and best practices can be infused in the way that curriculum is built, in the way that you lead a team, in the way that you empower educators, and then in the way that you ensure that the students that you're supporting are getting the best, getting access to the best knowledge and the best way of receiving knowledge that they can. So that's the long story short. And my dissertation was about the impact of, it's a long, these dissertations, maybe like the title is like from here to like Timbuktu. So I don't remember, I forget the exact name of my dissertation, but essentially what I studied was how music performance can create access to more opportunities along the lifespan for individuals with autism from communities of color. And the reason why is because when you see a person performing on stage, within 5 minutes, you're seeing a lot of different skills that they're displaying to you that in other settings may take you a lot longer to see. And I particularly interviewed parents of people with autism about their first time watching their child on stage. And for all those parents, that first time was a pivotal turning point in the way that they saw their child and thus advocated for their child, for opportunities for their child. And so like even at the Jazz Hands concert, which is like our first program at Jazz Hands, and that's why I studied this, because I would see like our musicians, parents will, they will entrust their kids into my hands, which I just don't take for granted because that's like a big deal, and a student will come to us, and at first their parents say, oh, this is my child, they kind of like piano, and then maybe like, not even 6 months later, like, oh, it's my child, they're a piano player, or this is my child, they do this and they do that, and so just by even just seeing their child performing on stage, the parents like, oh my God, my child can do so much. Let me see what more they can do. Because parents are primary gatekeepers, or the caregivers are primary gatekeepers for services for individuals who, for anybody really, for parents are the ones who say yes or no to this service. So the more capable a parent sees their child, the more the parent can advocate for their child for different opportunities. So that's what I studied in my dissertation. And all the parents that I interviewed, they mentioned that first time seeing their child perform on stage was a turning point for the rest of that child's life. And so, yeah, so music it's beautiful, it's healing, it's all these things, but it's also a very, very powerful tool in transforming perception and transforming culture and in transforming a person's life and what they have access to from childhood into adulthood. And that's the foundation of what Jazz Hands is built on. We want to make sure that our musicians are able to recognize that their talents are something of value that they can give to their community, and then we want to make sure that their community is engaging in reciprocity with them. So taking and receiving, not just giving. You know, I mean, taking and receiving is the same word. So giving and taking,
yeah.
you know. And the reason why that's important is because, you know, a lot of times we hear community and we think of like, you know, representation. And I think that that's only one part of the equation. There's representation, which yes, we want to see people in the community, but we also want to make sure that they are integrated and included in that community. So reciprocity is an element of community that is often forgotten. Just because I see you does not mean you're part of community, it just means that you're there. But if we are engaging, I'm giving you something and I'm taking something from you and you're taking from me and I'm giving to you. It's an exchange, and that reciprocity is a very important part of community. And so that's the premise upon which Jazz Hands is built, is our musicians come to Jazz Hands and they have a very, very protective and supportive community at Jazz Hands. But the ultimate goal is that they can then go into their communities at large and be an active member, participant in the communities. Not just them going and doing something, but the community has to also be primed to receive from them as well.
Wow. So what inspired you to think out of the box to create this program? Because it seems very structured, the way that you have everything thought out. And I can tell this took a lot of time, and I can hear your passion for it.
You know, that's interesting. Let me see how to answer that question in a straightforward way. It sounds structured now.
Was it just like a vision you had that you were like, oh, I hope to do this one day?
Yes. So I graduated from college in 2013. And after I graduated, I volunteered at a program. Long story short, I was introduced to the autism community, and I knew that what I wanted to do after I graduated from college was work in the autism community. But I was also a musician because I was singing. And I was like, these are my two biggest passions. There's got to be something here.
You're like, maybe I can combine.
Like, there's got to be something here. Nope, I'm gonna figure it out. So I started researching online, like music and autism connection. This is before AI. This is just Google, right? And then what I discovered on that Google search like changed my life. You know, like I saw so many articles that that mentioned about how music can help individuals with autism retain information or access information or communicate or build bridges. Then I also saw this one video that I'll never forget, where there was an individual who was autistic and they were singing a song. They were nonverbal, largely non-speaking, right? However, when they were singing, they can sing perfectly. And I was like, this is interesting. Why? And so like I just went down a rabbit hole.
Like they could sing the words?
They can sing the words, they can sing a perfect pitch. And I was like, this is interesting. What is this connection between autism and music? Very therapeutic, but it's like there's something else. And so I don't want to nerd out on like music and it's like the neurology of it and how it's processed in the brain and how it uses all the structures and because that's the rabbit hole that I went down. But all that to say that at that point, I discovered that, okay, I want to work with individuals who have autism because my brother is autistic. I discovered this like 4 years ago, though. I was like, oh, this is why. Because I couldn't explain.
It's clicking now.
It makes sense. I couldn't explain why autism was a thing. I was like, I just volunteered at a program and I want to do it. I don't have an answer. And then I was like, oh, it's because like this has been my life anyway. I've been my brother's advocate all his life, and so it makes sense that A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
That's typically what happens. I find a lot of family. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is my brother, DJ X-Ray, who is also an individual with a disability. So we all kind of fall into it. I think when you have someone that's close to you that have a disability, you become an advocate. One of the other things I wanted to mention before we close out here is I was thinking, as you spoke about how the parents are bringing their children to your program and they're learning for the first time that their child can do something. And I find in this community, some individuals, a lot of individuals with disabilities are often told so many times from the time they were a child that they can't do this, or they have limitations, or they have to do this program because they can't do this other thing. And it's wonderful when the parents, and as well as the individual, gets in a program like yours, or even on the ABLE show, and is able to say, I can do something. It's not about being able to do everything. None of us can do everything. Sorry to say. As fantastic as we all think we are, we cannot do everything. So it's finding that one special thing in us clients, and it happened to be music. It's just beautiful to watch, and it's just beautiful to watch.
Thank you. And I think especially with what's happening in the news with autism and our government, there seems to be like an indirect attack on parents, mothers specifically. And, parents of people with disabilities are putting their lives on the back burner every day, So like you said, parents, they see their child, they're like, I know my child, but it's just find the resources that can help support their child to become the best version of themselves. Parents of individuals who have disabilities, they are tirelessly advocating for their children, but it's all about what kind of services exists in the community, in their area, for that child to be able to be the best version of themselves and live the best life that they can. And so I think, I would urge parents to not be discouraged if you to get a diagnosis, that your child has a diagnosis. That disability is not a bad word.
Yeah, it's not.
It just helps you better understand them.
Yeah, it helps you better understand
how they
them,
view the
and
world.
it just means that you have to find different resources for your child to be, who they're called to be, or who they've been made to be. So, there are so many resources. Long story short, and I pray that more and more resources continue to pop up. For different kinds of interests. So like Jazz Hands, we're focused on music. There's the ABLE show, which is writing and production. There's things like Exceptional Minds, which is animation. So there's so many opportunities and resources. So your child can be whoever they want to be. It's all about the support that they get in their communities.
Exactly. So tell the audience how they can find you.
So you can find us www.jazzhandsforautism.org. You can find us on Instagram, Jazz Hands for Autism. On TikTok, our TikTok is really cool. Jazz Hands for Autism 1, the number 1. We are also on Facebook, Jazz Hands for Autism. We're on LinkedIn, Jazz Hands for Autism. Where else can you find us? You can find us at Culver City at our studio. We're right across the street from the Sony lot. And also come to our concert. We have a concert on November 22nd. Oh, awesome. I'd love to invite you all
please do.
to attend.
I'm surprised Shane hasn't told us about it, but
I think so many moving parts, but so please come to the concert so you can see in person, the talents and the contributions of individuals who are autistic in the LA area. So, it's also live streamed, so it's also going to be on YouTube if you can't make it down to the concert location, which is this one is going to be in Beverly Hills. You can't make it down there; it's going to be live streamed. So check out our YouTube. We're also on YouTube, Jazz Hands for Autism.
I love it.
Well, it's such a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for being here. You have a wonderful program. Keep doing what you're doing and impacting the community as you have. We'll see you next week on the Other Show.
I can be a friend who is someone you can vent to when it feels this world's against you and you forget you're special. Don't 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 you forget you're special. Some days of life will play the villain right. Some people might just wanna kill your vibe. When you're looking in the mirror, ain't it feeling fly? And your smile don't match what it is you feel inside. Is it pride, something you conceal that you won't say aloud? Listen, I will always be with you just to hear you out. When in doubt, remember we always got